Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam UiTM di hatiku. My name is Sharinisa binti Zainal and my metric number is 2019210256.
Assalamualaikum, salam UiTM di hatiku. My name is Nufarahi binti Muhammad Zamri and my matrix number is 2019401436.
Assalamualaikum and salam UiTM di hatiku. My name is Nurhanani binti Abu Bakar and my matric number is 2019412178.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and salam UiTM di hatiku. My name is Hanis Nasuha binti Muhammad Taib and my matrix number is 2019446776.
Assalamualaikum and salam UiTM di hatiku. My name is Sharida binti Muhammad Qasim and my matric number is 20193336.
Salam, I'm the first presenter. Today I would like to present to you about introduction of local government in Malaysia. Malaysia is a constitutional monarchy with a parliamentary majority rule system which is divided into three levels: federal, state and local, with national and state election held annually. The Constitution of Malaysia makes arrangement for local government and the really administering enactment incorporates the Local Government Act 1976, Act 171 for the primary, parliamentary and the Local Authorities Ordinance 1996 and the Local Government Ordinance 1961 for the provinces of Sabah and Sarawak individually. Malaysia has three different types of local governments, which is city councils, municipal councils and district councils. There are 149 local authorities in total, including Kuala Lumpur City Hall, consisting of 12 city councils, 39 municipal councils and 98 district councils. Putatan District Council and Pitas District Council, both in Sabah, are the most recent. The pay of local authorities gets from taxes, non-charged income and designations from administrative and state legislatures. Every one of the three sorts should give essential framework and public utilize, while district and urban communities moreover accommodate metropolitan preparation, general well-being and waste administration, and city communities further give income assortment, movement and law implementation.
Assalamualaikum, I'm the next presenter. We proceed with the criteria of City Council. For City Council, the population must be more than 500,000 and their revenue is not less than 100 million income for every year. They also be the administrative center, and from the aspect of development, City Council takes serious at issues and problems that are associated with the townships, such as the operation of illegal factories and squatters areas. They also have a complete educational centers, for example school and university, as well as have complete public facilities and infrastructure, especially for the disabled people. A city council also must be able to attract investors and be a center for activities such as sports and culture. The city council also acts as an image on history and heritage in the area, and there are buildings and areas that have value in terms of culture and history which need to be preserved in good condition. Meanwhile, for municipal council, the population must be more than 150,000 and their revenue is around 20 million annually. It also be administrative center or the main city for a district or a state, and it focuses on business, tourism, development and industry, which this will pave the way for employment opportunities for residents in that area. Meanwhile, for district council, the population must less than 150,000 population and their revenue is less than around 20 million. It also located far from major urban areas and focus on public facilities as well as public utilities.
So here I am. I will tell you about the background of the councils. Before 2020, Seremban is one of the state capitals who are not achieved the city status. It is because during that time, there are not many development was built in Seremban. However, in 9 September 2009, the Ministry of How Local Government has already approved Seremban to become a city. In order to achieve the city status, the state government decided that Nilai and Seremban Municipal Council to be merged. Apart from that, the state government also want to ensure that all the infrastructure, public transport, necessary facilities, services are fully provided. It is because to make sure all the citizens and people will living in comfortably and healthily in Seremban. Alright, now we move on to the Port Dickson Municipal Councils. Port Dickson Municipal Council was established in February 2002. Along coast of Port Dickson, we can find a modern urban resorts, agricultural activities, commercial and industrial activities. As an upgrade of the municipal council, it has supported the objective and vision of developing a unique, authentic and exciting identity for Port Dickson as an unequal destination for the tourists and for doing the recreational activities. So it is the government intention to promote tourism and meet local needs by developing the structure of the city center. As for example, the development and improvement that the government will do is such as from the types of road, the public facilities and public transportation will be improved to make all the people and tourists will become satisfied when they come to Port Dickson. Furthermore, all the development and construction and improvement will be done in environmentally friendly and does not interfere with nature, and it will not disturb all the neighbors who living in the Port Dickson too. So it is a win-win situation for all the people. Alright, lastly is the Rembau District Council. So Rembau District Council is a rural area. Even though Rembau was a rural area, but there is a lot of facilities that served by the government. As for example, the educational service, the public transportation, or even the tourist attraction. Everything was there in Rembau. Therefore, Rembau is a pleasant place for living, even though it is not a city. My last point is about population. It's of benefit if you living in there. The second one is Port Dickson, which is the municipal council. It's almost achieved urban area, but it is not as good as Seremban. But yet, it is still a nice place for living and tourism. So lastly is Rembau District Council. As we all know, it was the small population among the three, as it was a rural area, but yet it is still a nice place for us to see. Every place have their own pros and cons, and we can choose where we want to live.
For compare and contrast, location for City Council. Seremban City Council was established to provide services, especially for city services. It is more focused on sustainable urban development because now Seremban is a developing district. The services that aim to create a clean environment for all areas as well as industrial areas. Safe and controlled from especially any disease such as dengue fever. In addition, to ensure that the trees and crops are in a further condition for a stable and strategic landscape construction structure in order to prevent it from being damaged and threatening the surrounding community. Besides, support business related to harm to council property, for example, streets, drains, stalls, street lamp, and so on in the council's authoritative region. Public facilities in Seremban City Council consisting of a sports complex, swimming pool, stadium and field for sports. There are also halls available for bookings that can be made by the public for any event that can accommodate a fairly satisfactory capacity of people. For education, it can be said that all categories are provided, such as primary schools, national type schools (STK), secondary schools and institutions of higher learning. For instance, Sekolah Kebangsaan Mambau, Sekolah Jenis Kebangsaan Cina Kelpin Seremban, Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Seremban 2, and UiTM Campus Seremban 3, which are often a concern for student studies because they are close to residential areas and the city center. A library is also provided while helping with some reading materials for any research. There are also some fun activities and places to visit in the tourism sector as Seremban wants to maintain urban development such as ascending a mountain or hill. The uniqueness of the tropical rainforest found in Seremban can be felt when you climb some of the slopes and mountains seen as here like Gunung Angsi, Ulu Bendel Amusement Forest, Kepayang Hill, and several more. In addition, explore the increasingly popular extreme sports among tourists nowadays as they seek to test their own strength and courage, and you can visit some areas of Popate culture, for example Negeri Sembilan Museum and many more, as the culture of Popate Custom Center has long impacted to the local area in Seremban. Other services such as application for license and business permits are opened at certain counters for the purpose of business operators in accordance with established procedures. Payment services by payment counters as usual, mobile counters, and also online banking to facilitate those who want to pay compounds, taxes, and so on immediately. The People's Cyber Center also for the purpose of facilities in ICT such as the use of computers that have been accessed with the internet and printers that are provided free of charge and some are charged at a reasonable price. Public utilities with KTM Seremban Railway Station is the basic railway station on the north-south line of KTMB Railway Kereta Api Tanah Melayu Berhad, Malaysia, and is served by the high-speed electric train commuter and ETS administration. Seremban also has a central city bus and taxi transport terminal called Terminal 1. Bus transportation travel to all pieces of Negeri Sembilan, just as most significant towns on the Malaysian peninsula. Taxis are likewise accessible on the second floor of the terminal, where it makes it easier for passengers who have just arrived at the terminal to head to their next destination.
We proceed with location for municipal council, which is Port Dickson. The existing administrative state such as Administrative Complex of Port Dickson District, Department of Administration and Human Resources, and National Registration Department. For public facilities in terms of education, where it consists from primary schools, secondary schools, college, and even polytechnic. Examples of primary school is such as Sekolah Kebahasaan Teluk Kemang. For secondary school is Sekolah Menengah Kebahasaan Tinggi Port Dickson, and for polytechnic we have Port Dickson Polytechnic, and last is college, namely Unity College. For tourism development, where there are more than 30 options of hotels, resorts, and budget hotels that are available at affordable and rational prices. For examples, Lexis Hibiscus Port Dickson and PD World Marina Resort. Other tours like ecotourism and heritage or cultural tourism trail that consist history, recreation, and culture such as military museum. For services in the Port Dickson, where they provided space for businessmen to do business on the condition where these businessmen need to pay monthly payment to the local government. Among the places that provided for sailors such as small stores and public markets. And Port Dickson Municipal Council also provide mobile counters that will move from one place to another place for residents to pay the assessment rate. There are also cyber communities for the convenience of residents. In terms of public utilities, waste management are provided with schedule. According to the schedule, we will collect items such as associated with electrical items, food waste, and garden waste. There is also transportation like bus and bus terminal in Port Dickson. For location of district council, which is Rembau, it remote and far away from city and from urban development. It focuses more on public utilities and public facilities rather than the services. The existing education that be one of the public facilities in Rembau are primary schools, secondary schools, and higher education such as college and the university. The example of primary school is Sekolah Kebahasaan Undang Rembau, secondary school is Sekolah Menengah Kebahasaan Undang Rembau, and for higher education, the example of college is Rembau Community College, and for the university is University Technology Rembau, UiTM Rembau. In terms of public facilities, there are places for sport and recreation equipped with other facilities such as public toilets and playground for the children. There are also provided hall and court facilities for the people there, For example, in Rembau, there are 3 choices for halls, which are Agora Rembau, Merdeka Hall, and Sri Rembau Hall. Tourism development there, we have Wetworld Air Panas Petas Resort, replica Istana Raja Mewah, and Hutan Lipur Gunung Datuk. For public utilities, first we have taxi that is known as Rembau Taxi, where among the areas covered are Sri Melaka, Putrajaya, Seremban and Seremban 2, Rembau, Selangor, Sarawak and Port Dickson. Second, we have bus where the service use is My Bus, and there are about 107 number of buses operating, which aims to facilitate residents to commute to school, work and also to the city centre of Seremban. Number 3, we have train. There is Kereta Api Tanah Melayu KTM Rembau or Malaysia Railways Limited, which has been operating since 2013.
Point is about population. It's of benefit if you living in there. The second one is Port Dickson, which is the municipal council. It's almost achieved urban area, but it is not as good as Seremban. But yet, it is still a nice place for living and tourism. So lastly is Rembau District Council. As we all know, it was the small population among the 3, as it was a rural area, but yet it is still a nice place for us to see. Every place have their own pros and cons, and we can choose where we want to live.
As previously mentioned, the revenue generated by a territory is key towards recognizing the status of that said territory. Revenue for all local authorities is derived from a plethora of sources. But today, we will be comparing and contrasting between tax, licenses and permit, as well as rentals. So the first and foremost we have is the tax. All 3 councils are required to collect the locals' assessment tax. So this tax is actually a local property tax based on a real estate's annual rental value. The rates for this tax, however, may vary from region to region, as they are all determined by their respective local authorities. For example, in the MBS, they have set a tax rate of 13% for a mere 1-story house. If we were to look at the PD Municipal Council's official website, they have actually provided a tabling of assessment rates based on the type of property. So here we can see that the bigger the townships, mukims, the higher the assessment rate. For example, a residential building in the big city of PD has a rate of 8% as opposed to the smallest township of Jimah with only 4%. Furthermore, there are several fixed rates for all PD townships, such as the industrial property at 5% and Malay Reserve land at 3%. It is also important to note that these rates are more or less the same for the Rembau District Council. Licensing and permits. Licensing and permits in the Seremban, PD and Rembau councils are pretty similar, as they are mainly for businesses or construction purposes. The Seremban City Council, for instance, has long established a license and cleaning department that encompasses several different licensing. This includes temporary construction permits, miscellaneous work permits, outdoor billboard license, hawker market or store license, and temporary permits. Similarly, Port Dickson Municipal Council and Rembau District Council has power to issue and renew both business licenses and business permits. Business licenses include business license, special business license, hawker license, auction market license, and also a night and public market license. On the other hand, business permits would include temporary business permits and advertisements or temporary banner permits. Next, let's compare and contrast rentals of the 3 councils. Local governments are able to rent out their facilities and amenities to the public. In MBS, they offer a myriad of facilities for public rent. For instance, the Negeri Sembilan Hockey League are occasionally seen renting the Tuanku Haji Muhammad Said Hockey Stadium for either RM90 per session or RM360 per day. In addition, the Hall of Orang Ramai Sikamat was actually rented out by the government for a couple of months as a vaccination centre with a daily rent of RM2,000. Similarly, PD and Rembau do offer rental of public facilities. Although the facilities are slightly more limited and budget-friendly, as there is obviously less demand and less space for it. Also, it could be that they are not financially able to provide as many facilities and amenities as what you typically find in the city areas. That being said, PD has many stalls, hawkers, food courts and public markets for rent. A lot in Pasar Linggi is only 30 ringgit a month. A bus stop stall is merely 50 ringgit per month, while rental of a beach stall is reasonably priced at 80 ringgit per month. In Rembau, the main rental facilities would be the Dewan Merdeka. The fee actually depends on what kind of activity you are holding. If it's a wedding, they graciously include all the tables, chairs and canopies for 636 ringgit for the entire day. In addition, small sports events would cost around 200 ringgit per day.
The challenge that must be faced by local authority that often occur in all states in Malaysia is related to the task deferral. The issue of assessment task area in the country is actually very worrying because the gross amount is so large that it reach about 6 million in total. According to the local government at 1976, a revaluation has to be done every 5 years, but due to this problem of the area, it is inevitable. An example that can be taken into account is that the Kuala Lumpur City Hall DBKL, which has a total area of 350 million in 2020. In 2017, our local authority in Selangor have assessment task area of 578 million. Then Perak, which collected area of 98 million. The main impact that will be happen to the state management system if this delay is continue is that when the task amount is low, local authority do not have sufficient funds to cover the cost of the administrations and the services in their area of responsibility. As a result, management and services level will be distributed. Every year, the issue of the abandoned building is not longer a new issue in Malaysia. The number of abandoned buildings continue to increase, despite various solutions from the central and local government. In addressing this issue, a total of 17.3% public sector projects throughout Malaysia are abandoned projects that present many difficulties and challenges to the local government itself in dealing with them. In August 2020, the Malaysian Reserve Media released a report that the Selangor state government had to bail out 37 abandoned buildings out of 180 projects across the Selangor. Among the causes of the existence of this abandoned building due to the bankruptcy of the property developer, development technologies, delay in the obtaining approval, and also technical error that occurred during the project. As a result, the local government had to bear the losses from the abandoned project as well as to prevent the building from becoming a scene of the crime and vandalism. Regarding economic recovery in Malaysia after being hit by the COVID-19, there are several challenges that must be resolved by the local government, which is a focus on the regenerating the economy of the local people. The first challenge is the permission for the residents to hawk on the side of the roads during the PKP recovery period. The Minister of the Housing and Local Governments informed that all the small hawkers are allowed to trade and operate during the period of total lockdown 1 till 14 June 2021. This is implemented so that the people who lose their job can continue living by doing the business. License as well as the permit applications process has been simplified by the local government by only showing a letter of permissions to the business from them only without being part of the straight procedure. The second challenge that the local authority must face to the Malaysian economy during COVID-19 is to preserve and safeguard to the safety of hawker and road user. The issue of the hawker at the traffic light has been arisen as a receive various reactions from the community in Malaysia. Local authority have acted decisively on this issue as they described that business as very risky and the age range of the tools selling is still on par with the age of school students. effort has been made by the local authority as well as the Royal Malaysian Police in all states in Malaysia to issue summons against the hawker and driver involved in the purchasing process. Another effect of this activity is the direction of the foreign country to Malaysia's development process. Every year, the government has tried to make Malaysia a developed country, but if such activities are not prevalent, it is likely that Malaysian intention to achieve developed country status is still a long way off. So not only the government should strive to make Malaysia a developed country, but the community should also help the government to achieve that goals.
In conclusion, many changes have been made to ensure that the administrative system has proven to be effective by playing their respective roles to make some efforts and efficiently solve various challenges or problems that come. What's more, in this COVID-19 pandemic season, of course, make them act practically to ensure that the urban development process is not stagnant. Each council has its own rhythm and to achieve their respective objective, increasing the level of development that the country can feel the experience through its process, as well as increase the community's perspective to place trust in the councils involved. Therefore, each councils should be functioning properly, and they may not become ineffective at the local level, which does not threaten the development of the country. That's all from us. Thank you.